Guys, welcome back to the channel. This is part 3 of our 3 series build. First one, we tore everything apart. Second one, we've got the back end all done up and ready to go. This one, we're going to be putting this Crown Vic front end in this. Somehow. That's gotta, and that's gotta. Not a good idea at all. Not a good idea. Man, I went back and watched some of the other videos I did, and I say the word "so" a lot. I am gonna try this video to not say it so much. But keep an ear out for it. Hey, eyes over here. Don't be worried about what's going on over there. That's another video. My eyes are up here. Okay, the first plan of attack, get these coil springs out. Get that radius arm right back there unbolted. Get the I-beam unbolted. See if we can't get the front suspension to come out. We'll get these cups and we'll get that center cross member cut out after we get the suspension components removed. Let's get at it. I am whooped. W-H-U-U-U-U-P, whooped. That little heifer did not want to come out. The bolts, they all came right off. But no. I-beams wanted to twist going in, radius arms wanted to be all whooped. But got it out. Now it's time to get all these cross member Now it's time to get this cross member and the coil pockets cut out of there. And then we're done, I think. Got the spring purchase out. We got the I-beam mounts out. That one's actually attached to the cross member. Motor mounts are out. Steering gearbox is out. Whoever designed how to put that in there.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
And why is that? Why should I be ashamed of myself?
There's 3 bolts holding that steering gearbox in. Okay. There's 1. There's 2. And there's 3. Now, in order to get number 3 out, you got to take this top bolt out of the shock perch. Come on, get it. That's how it sits. Okay? How does anybody get any type of wrench in there? No. Some smart engineer over at Ford decided, oh, we'll just take 1 bolt out. This one's nut plated at the top. This one is not. So you take that out, hit it over, and there's the access to your 3rd bolt for your steering gearbox. So crazy. Just slide the shock mount back, or the brake mount. It's a brake mount, it's not even a shock mount. Slide it back. Whoop, 1/2 inch, done. Not even that important. So, all we got left, pull the cross member out. We should have a hole. Now, before we pull that cross member out, we're going to take a measurement anywhere from the inside of the frame to the inside of the frame, because I got a strong feeling this thing's going to want to open up. Then we're going to have troubles when we're going to put the core support back in, the bumper back in. So Before we pull that center cross member, take a measurement because it's going to open up, guaranteed. We could probably do the right thing and just weld a bar in here. Nah, I don't want to waste electricity. All right, guys, that is it for today. I'll be back in the morning. Hopefully we can get that cross member out and start mocking this front end into the frame. So I'm tired, I'm beat. This truck whooped me. It's time for bed. We'll see you guys in the morning. Guys, welcome back. It is a new day here, and we are going to get this front end in that truck today. This video, who knows how long it's going to take, but we're going to get that front end in that little heifer right there. I have been sitting here trying to get that big hunk of Bam Bam meat right there out of here, and under there. So we did get the center cross member out. And remember earlier in the video, I was telling you, make sure you take a measurement between each of these frame rails. Well, what happened is this thing opened up probably 1.5 inches. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So before I took that cross member out, I took a measurement from the inside of the frame rail here and the inside of the frame rail here. I used these them holes right there. I went over center right here, and I went over center here. I came across, and they were at, if I can get it on, oh, come on. There we go. From there to the inside of the frame rail was 29.5. You can see I wrote it right there. It was 29.5 inches. So what happened is when I took that cross member out, it opened up 1.5 inches. It opened all the way up to 31 inches. We'll get this kind of set up under here first before I put any type of cross member. See which way this frame needs to go back to get back to its original position, and we'll bring you along. I know probably 1 or 77 of you guys are probably going, you're an idiot. You probably should have already put a cross member or some sort of brace or support welded in here before I took that cross member out. Yes, that is a good way to do it if you'd like to do it that way. I have done that numerous times, and I feel like that cross member gets in my way when I'm trying to cut anything out, trying to put stuff in here. So I'm pretty confident in what I'm doing here. So this cross member here, the transmission cross member, never came out. So yes, this front end kind of forked out or whatever you want to call it, but it didn't do much. I can take a measurement from the bumper mounts, bring those back in. I can take a measurement from the inside of my frame rail, which I did, and bring those back in. I want to get this close, and then we'll bring that frame back together. Not going to mess up any type of alignment. It's not going to walk it down, crab it down the road or nothing like that. I've done this enough to know that we're good. So if you guys want to put a cross member in there, go ahead, weld a cross member in there. It ain't going to hurt nothing. But I'm not going to. I'm going to do it later. So, see, I said so again. Gotta stop saying so. Get that under here. Figure something out. Ta-da! There you go. I told you by the end of the video we're going to have that front end under the front of this truck. That's it. Thanks for joining, guys. We'll see you next time. No. We're going to get it in there. Somehow. I'll put that in backwards. No, good. Alright, let's get back in there. So before I took this front end out, the stock front end out, I did mark center. Center is right here. Didn't really mark on that side because, well, it's a bit greasy and I didn't want to clean it up. I'm lazy. So we'll come off of that center mark, just kind of square everything up and kind of start going from there. But what I'm gonna do is, that is the center line. I don't like the way the front end sat in these F250s. So I'm actually gonna take that and I wanna bring it back probably about a 1/2 inch or so. Now, in doing that, it's actually going to help me out. So if you look here, there's my center line. I wanna go to that hole actually. And if I'm looking at it correctly, which I am, this big nipple is the center. Well, I don't know if you guys can really see that. It is, you're gonna take my word for it. That is the center of this suspension system. So if I use that as a reference, get that hole wallowed out a little bit, we're gonna take that, suck it up inside of there, and kind of build ourselves up from there. Okay, so we've got this and that. If you remember earlier, I was talking, here's the center mark. I wanted to come back about a 1/2 inch. And there is that hole. That is a 3/4 inch hole to accept the pin for the Crown Vic front end. It's done over there as well. And what I've done is I left the frame, remember how I told you that thing opened up about 1.5 inches? I left it wide open because what happens when this frame wants to open up, it doesn't just open up, you know, left to right. It'll actually turn and do something like this, depending on which way it wants to relax. So yes, you can put a cross support across here, weld one on the top and weld one on the bottom. Like I said, that's just, to me, seems like it just slows the process down. So what I did was drilled that hole, brought the suspension up into those holes, and then I took this cargo strap, and those holes are gonna hold the bottom. And as you tighten up on this cargo strap, the top is going to bring itself back in. Now, I did take another measurement. I am dead on 29.5 at the top, from there to there, and I'm even dead on 29.5 on the bottom, there to there. We needed to get this squared up also. So what I did was I took a measurement off of this cab mount. I'm gonna guess from the factory, they're both in the same position. When I say I guess, I did measure. I measured from same light hole here to the back of that cab mount, same thing on both sides. Both measurements were exact. So I took a measurement from this cab mount to the center. And both sides are identical. So we know we're squared up. We know the frame is back to its original stock location. And we now have modern suspension in here. Now, it is by far done. We're gonna have to build some sort of plate here. This frame is actually a little bit taller than the F100, so I don't have to build such a big plate, trapezoid plate, whatever you wanna call it, to fill that gap. Basically what I wanna do is I wanna get this top here parallel to this frame. And it's about parallel right there. So, need to build a plate to fill that in. We're gonna box that corner in here. And what I'm gonna do is take some tubing and run down the center of that, run down that C channel. So when we take the bolts and lock them in, it doesn't just squeeze against the C channel frame and kind of bow it in. It's gonna have something that's really nice and solid to hold that in there. So same thing on this side. They're both pretty close as far as the same amount of plating and rise I've got to build to get that to get on the frame. All right, let's get cleaning this area up. Let's get to building some sort of bracing here and figure out what we're going to do as far as boxing that in. Okay, where are we now? We have got the front end boxed in kind of right over the front suspension. Took some box tubing and cut it down a 1/2 inch. So this is just the top, and this plate is separate from that one. So now that sits 90 degrees to the frame. Pretty much what I got to do now is rinse and repeat that. Plate that, build the riser, cut some holes and install. All right, take a look at what we did. The front end is complete. What I mean by complete is it ain't done all the way, but it is in. There's 4 bolts holding this suspension up. It is boxed in. It's got its risers. It's got everything we need for it to support this truck at the moment. Still got to do some brake modification here. We got to get a whole brake system to tie into this front end. I think what I'm going to do is box this in as well. Right now, I don't need to box it in. It's strong enough. But I think just for aesthetics, me being able to see down inside there just doesn't look right to me. So I'm probably going to end up plating here and plating on the other side just so it looks nice and clean. But let me get you in here and show you what it looks like completed. If you look, this sits perfectly at a 90-degree angle. It's not tapered up at all. It's not kicked back. Sits really good on top of the frame.
It's perfect.
Top and bottom. Other side's the same way. We got a slow rise up here for our spacer. We got it boxed in, and same thing. She is sitting nice and square. I did take a couple measurements before I made sure I bolted it all down. This is spot on to the cab mounts. And then I took another measurement all the way back to the rear suspension, and we are within a 1/16 of an inch. So I know we're square. I know we're gonna ride down the road nice and straight. Something like this, straight. Yep. So the center of the back is 10 inches from the center of that rotor down to the ground. That's 10 inches. The front center of that one to the ground is just under 12 inches. However, we do have a 2-inch piece of wood in the middle of that dolly, so the lower control arm doesn't scrape. But we're right on as far as front to back. Really happy with the stance. It's gonna look a whole lot better with some rims and tires on it and all the sheet metal back on it, but for now, that's gonna have to do. All right, guys, that is it. That is a wrap for this video. That is a wrap for this whole part 3 series of this truck. We got the back end all squared away. We got the front end. We still got a few things we want to button up, but it's in. The majority of the work is all there. I know I said earlier in the video I was going to put the sheet metal back on it, but I think that's just going to be a waste of time. I still got to get the engine gone through, get it back in here, put the sheet metal back on it just to see what it looks like. Probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense. First time to the channel, hit that subscribe button. If you've been around here for a while, turn them notifications on. That's gonna let you know when I drop new content. We do have a next build already queued up. We might have something pretty cool lined up for you guys, but thanks for sticking around. We'll see you next time. Maybe even get an engine in it. Nope. None of it's gonna happen.